So, welcome to the Best
Hello.
for the World broadcast. I'm joined today by Mahmoud Yema, personal coach from the Wellbeing Lab. Um, but I think that's a very inappropriate and very reductionist description of yourself. Yema, would you like to say some words about yourself, who you are, and what you're doing?
Okay, I'm originally a physician, and now, as you said, I am now a part of an NGO, Wellbeing Lab, where we try to bring well-being in everyday people's lives. So that's the main thing. Plus, being a self-defense instructor, a martial artist, and uh, and yeah, so basically that's what I'm mainly focused with now. Plus being a traveler and different things, you can always attribute other stuff to yourself. But
Mhm.
yeah, maybe for other sessions. So it's yeah.
So today session is about values and
Yes.
discovering our deep guides. Um, I'm very excited. Please uh, guide us through discovering our values and yeah, how can we start?
Good. So my intention here is to facilitate that and try to guide everyone in that path. But yeah, everyone needs to prepare himself mentally uh, to be able to guide it basically. And that's any session we used to talk about the mindset before you begin. What do you have intention of this workshop or this, calling or session or just taking a walk? What do you want to get from it? What kind of value do you want to get from it? So by that, let's discover some of our deepest values which guide us in our life, which we tend to not be able to spot or acknowledge. So by that, we just take a small exercise in the beginning, which is I want everyone now to remember someone which they feel very positive feelings towards. Somebody they met in life where they are really love and look up to. And that person, I want you to write 5 reasons what kind of characters that person have, which you think is positive and you really adore in that person. So I want everyone to write 5 things in that person and just imagine the person in your mind and really feel gratefulness and gratitude to that person and write 5 things. And of course, we'll use Jens as a, if he is willing to cooperate.
Of course, I'm already writing down.
Yeah, good. I can see. Yeah. Yeah, everyone write down and don't say, oh, because it's recorded, then I'll just do it and then no, do it now.
You can also pause the video, do the exercise,
Yeah,
and come back to it.
yeah. But but yeah, people tend to go to Facebook and then they forget what what were they doing. Everybody is like that, right? Yeah, but that's yeah, I get to it.
Okay, I wrote down my 5 attributes.
Good. So Jens, I would like you to see someone which you don't like at all, someone you have like negative feelings towards, or you just maybe you don't have so much negative feelings towards now because you accepted or you had a way to deal with that, but that person that you have negative attributions to his own character, you don't like the character in him, so you don't have to hate him, but some person that you see a lot of negative characters in that person. So I would like everyone to also write down 5 things which they see in that person which they don't like. Okay.
Okay.
Good. So Jens, can you tell me the five things, the positive five things, characters?
The positive five things were joy, um,
Joy.
peacefulness, or
Yes.
calmness,
Yes.
kindness,
Okay.
uh, love, and gratitude.
Love and gratitude. Okay, very good. So as we see here, what came out here was is values which we see in that person. Why? Because usually our behaviors and our emotions, our thoughts are attracted to the values behind everything and behind that person or behind. That's why we love that. And we talked yesterday about the perception, how we perceive something. This is the why do I say the first person in your life? Because usually many positive perception wise, which is the values. Values is the highest positive perceptual things we can attribute to somebody. That those are the values, right? Those are the positive perceptions, and those positive perceptions, whenever they are the most important five or seven or 10 values in our life which we lead by, whenever those we see in one person, on one thing or one event or one action we do, we get hooked to that. We get very emotionally bound and attached to that, or to that event or the person. So basically we feel more connected with that because it reflects our values, you see. And if we talk about the negative, let's get to the negative one and then connect them together. So Jens, can you tell me about the negative ones?
Um, so it was anger, um,
Mm-hmm.
force, um,
Okay.
yeah, almost hate.
Okay.
Um, I can't even read my own handwriting. Impulsiveness and
Okay.
unreflectedness.
Unreflectedness. Okay. Unreflectedness, like opposite to honesty. Is that true or for you?
No, more in the way of no pausing, you know, impulsiveness.
Also impulsiveness. Okay. So, okay, what is opposite to anger for you?
I guess peacefulness,
Okay. What is against force? What is the opposite for force for you?
kindness,
Okay. What is against hate?
love.
Opposite for hate. Love. Okay. Impulsiveness.
I guess it goes back to peace as well.
Peace. Okay. And uh, what is opposite for unreflectedness?
I guess expression, maybe even joy. Yeah.
Joy. Okay. Okay. So what did we do here? We now we really like, it's as if we took like a lemon and squeezed it and really got a juice then. It's like why and how do we act? We act, you see what happened here. The opposites were actually just the opposite of the real value which you like, you see. It was not something other than just the opposite which you don't like. So basically what you like was joy, which was against unreflectedness, and you peacefulness, which was against anger and impulsiveness, and you like kindness, which is also one of your strongest values, which was against force, and love, which was against hate, and gratefulness, which we didn't see an opposite of, but that's also one of your, and it can be attributed to different ones. So basically, what we did here, we just, as a quick exercise, we see we can see what is the most important values of ourselves. And I believe also it was easy, also it was very fluid because you already do this, Jens, as I know. So for other people, they might struggle a little bit, they might think a little bit more, about it and really get to know that. But the thing is, this is a very good exercise to draw our deep internal motives, which is already the most positive. But whatever comes in the negative way, which takes from those values, then we get disturbed inside and then we don't like that. So basically, it's just a unity principle where just that we like what is this and we don't like what is not this, you see. So basically, your values are joy, peace, kindness, love, and gratefulness. So whatever you do, now we come to the part of the action. Whatever we do, if we have those in mind, we have those values in mind, then we will do it with most joy and most connectedness with ourselves and in peace and in moment with whatever is around us. The moment we lose those values, the moment we do something which we don't see those values in, the moment we lose interest in it, the moment we want to get rid of it, want to be distant from it because we don't see value in it, because no one wants to do something which they don't feel valuable about. Even, for example, when you ask people who have a 8-hour job and then some people of them are miserable doing the job, but then you ask them, why do you do it if you're so miserable? Then they say, for example, yeah, it's because I cannot afford, taking another job. I need the money. I need the security. So basically, what his values were, that more important was security and financial stability, which is part of the security. Money, which can also be a part of security. You know. So basically, his security value was over other things, which can be as freedom or different things. Basically, this is one who is stuck with a job which he does not like, 8 hours a day. Another one, for example, is traveler, which is very different mindset. The traveler, oh no, for example, I don't want to stick with a job 8 hours which I don't like. I will just travel the world. His value is more freedom, right? So basically, each one is different in his values and it translates into his actions afterwards, right? So basically, when we understand our values, then we can trick ourselves into doing stuff we don't like. Yeah. So basically, how can we do that, right? Because sometimes it's just our mind just doesn't want to do it because we are programmed, as we said before, yesterday, about the perception. We say, okay, 8-hour job, okay, that's not freedom. That's entrapment. Marriage, that's entrapment. There is no freedom in that. That's only our perception because what we have been used to put plugs in the thing of marriage, as we talked yesterday. It's like a ball, and we just put like flags in it, right? So basically, one flag is on no freedom in marriage, no stability, no and all that kind of stuff which you attach to one thing. But if we see the thing through our values and see what does this thing do for us, what is my values, how can I get those values from that, then it totally changes the game. And we'll give an example in a bit. But first, I would like, Jens, do you want to comment on something or ask a question?
Um, no, I find it very helpful, like you said, to identify what are my values in the way of understanding what are my, preferred ways of seeing and doing. But then also taking a step back basically and understanding, okay, this is how I know, maybe naturally react based on the experiences I made on based on the perception that I have. But now I can also have a choice about, sometimes I'm also angry and sometimes that's okay. And sometimes I need to be in that space of expressing my anger. And then, yeah, maybe I don't naturally feel comfortable doing this, but if I have to do it, I can do it. So it's for me, it's important to also realize this choice in choosing how I want to actually react or act.
Mhm. Yeah. And for example, as you said about anger, and you can be angry, but then you are like, but my core value is peace. So how can that work with my anger? And then we tend to diffuse that and say like, no, I cannot get angry. But another way to look at it, that in order to stay peaceful, you need to release that anger, sometimes. And how to release it, that's the thing, different ways, right? Because we can also get, I can just say that a little bit about that, but anger is not anger. It's just some energy which is guided in the way of vibrations that way, right? It just comes out in an unhealthy way, which is related to our mental and subconscious states and our present moment, our sleep, our diet, a lot of things, right? Our spiritual state, the moon, if you believe in that, whatever it is. But there is a lot of different things which also can stimulate. That does not mean that we are just a marionette. No, we can control that. But as you said, we need to accept it. We need to see, okay, if I need to release it and all that, and be mentally mindful about it. And as we said yesterday about seeing the anger before it takes over, and then we can catch it in the middle of the anger. We can catch it before. It depends on our states, right? As we said yesterday. So yeah, and sometimes it's, in order to have more peacefulness, we need to get a little bit angry, let's say, in order to be, to be to see in the morning. We need to sleep and shut off our eyes. Basically, we need, sometimes you need to do the opposite to get the opposite you really want. Yeah, see. So yeah, that's really important. Just small philosophy or say a concept we need to understand. Sometimes we need to do the opposite to get the opposite. So yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was
so
really a good example. To also use my example is to express the anger to come to a state of peacefulness again. Because then, as I said, in some situations I need to be angry. I need to express that anger to feel my peacefulness, and that again turns me towards my preferred values. Uh, yeah. So I don't really have a question right now, but I think it makes sense, and I'm just understanding myself better by doing this exercise.
thank you for the input. Okay, good. Then we continue. For example, now I'll give examples of values so we understand more what is values. So I'll just give several examples. So, for example, truth is an example. Peace, as you said, joy, kindness, peacefulness, as you said. Also, integrity, modesty, honesty, responsibility, trustworthiness. I have also written some here. Innocence, fairness, virtue, authenticity. So yeah, all those are values, because some people tell me, okay, what does value mean? Value is the highest positive form which a concept can be attributed to. Okay, and that's how we aspire, how we can lead our life into a better version of itself. So yeah, another thing, also health. It can also be a value. And by health, I would also like to tap into that now, to just have like a small break in here. So basically, I would like to tap into our body, because our body is, we are sitting here. Many people are sitting on that desk, 8 hours a day, 10 hours even now because of quarantine and stuff. We are always sedentary. So I would like that we just pay attention to our body and really have the correct form. There is a lot of videos and articles about how you can posture yourself, right? Actually, I got a course about that, but not for now. But the thing is, the most important thing when we are sitting is to relax and and just be aligned with our body. Because if not, our body will just crouch on us and say, "You're tiring me, giving me a pain." Health, that's one of my essential values. So that's like also. So basically, it depends on what you the most important values in, but it will affect all the other values basically. So about sitting, we need to sit like our back straight, right? And when I'm sitting tall. So basically, I'm not uh, putting all my weight on my spine, and then I just let my weight drop. So basically, this is one, and this is one. You see the level of difference. This is I just put my weight on my spine, but this is, you see how much it took from the video here, the difference of Yeah, it's a lot of difference actually. And yeah, and we need to, relax our shoulders. If when we are sitting, we can, while we, for example, work or something like that, we can shrug our shoulders a little bit. We can tend to, we can just have, yeah, exactly, some stretches while we sit and work. And about also the quarantine and stuff, we need maybe to walk. Okay, I get into health all the time. I need to get to just something there. But yeah, so yeah, I hope you take care of your body, take care of yourself. So now we will continue about the values and another thing about the values. I want uh, another exercise so we understand more. If you imagine yourself, you are going to an event which you do not like. Okay. Okay. And that's this event. Remember a certain event. Maybe your girlfriend tried to take you on a certain event with your family, for example, and you didn't want to go, and you had a certain reasons, and something like that, or you had a party, an after party for a company, whatever it is. Just imagine this and write down 5 reasons why you don't want to go. Okay, so yeah, you went to that place or that event or that party. Why don't you want to go? Why do you feel this is a waste of your time and you can do something else? Okay, and says breathing in, breathing out is trying to think.
Uh, you
That's
asked me
also
about
very
an event that I don't like to go to. I mean, mm,
yeah, but you need to go.
I need to
There
go.
is
Yeah.
some other reasons that you need to go.
Okay. I have three values so far.
Okay,
Um,
I'll wait.
what else?
Everyone watching, write down. Keep continuing.
Yeah, it's okay. Just raise the pressure. Um,
Yeah, doing fine.
okay. I have
Good.
five values
Okay, good. So, can you mention the event and why you don't want to go there?
now. It is going back to places that I have been to in the past. Um,
Okay,
um,
specific. Can you mention one specific?
um, yeah, I can say that, for example, my workplace, the first workplace I had.
Okay.
Um, and I guess you want me to say the reasons or the values.
Yeah, if you'd like.
Um, so the values why I don't want to go there is because I felt invalidated or
Okay.
I felt not being understood.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was not able to express myself and who I am and my ideas. Um, there was basically no communication.
Okay.
Um, and every time I went there, it was basically reinforcing the status quo, if that makes sense. It was always the same pattern instead of change.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, Jens, what can you do if you go to the same place? I would like to ask you now, what can you do to give or get if you go to the same place? What can you do each one? Like, for example, we start with validated, invalidated. You said that you are not validated. What can you do to get validated and to give validation? Because, okay, so a value, to be able to live each value in your life, you need to think about two things: how you get it from, from something inside of yourself. You get it in and you get it out. And get it in, it does not mean that you go to someone and say, you have to give me that. No, it does not mean like that. It means that how can you feel it? You see? How can you feel it? That can be an internal thing. It can be something you do to get that, but it can also just be a feeling inside. And the other thing is, how can you give it back? How can you give it to people to feel it yourself? Because sometimes, most of the time, we think we don't get it from the outside, but we tend to like just try to get the environment give it to us. But we can actually give it, and when we give it, we live it. You see, and this is just another way to live it and demand it in our life, because usually we demand it from the outside. But if we live it with ourselves, with giving something, it can reciprocate. So with those two aspects in our mind, how can you get validated if you go to that place again?
Mm. It's funny that you exactly say these things, because this is how I felt. I felt externally invalidated, um,
Mhm.
and how I can work on this is by validating myself, to accept who I am, and what I value, and what I would like to do. And at the same time, also validating the environment that I have been in, and saying, well, this is how it is. This is the situation I have been, and um, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and
it's nobody's fault at that point, because for a long time I was, how can I say it, resentful. Uh, but at some point I had to let it go in the way of accept, and well, that that is just how it was, and I learned from it, so it actually served me well.
very nice. And Jens, can you do something to validate yourself? So, for example, if I say that I go to that job and then I do work for 8 hours and then I have lunchtime, and actually I did a very good job from 10 to 12. Then I'm like, oh, I can actually validate myself by getting myself a cup of extra large cup of coffee instead of getting a medium one. Sometimes we can do simple things for ourselves and not wait for others to do it for us.
Mm.
So basically, we can also, this was the mentally thing which you told me about. And also, we can do something from the external, but ourselves, we do it and just be content with that. So that's also another form to get validation in our life. So that was validation. So basically, when we think about any value, which is the example of this invalidation or validation, which is how can I get it more in our life by treating myself? And then the other thing what we talked about is how can we give others? So because if I want to live that value, then why do I just want to live it with myself? Who needs validation in that company or that place, which I can give to? Sometimes it's so easy. You just see someone, do a good job, or like do like type very fast in his computer. I was like, oh, very nice. It's very impressive how quick you write. And then you can when you make that validation for others, you will see with time those people will come to you and say something. I have almost not seen, like, if you do it like repetitively enough, those people will feel obliged to give you back, and then you just reciprocate that positive value, basically. So sometimes we just tend to wait for others, but if we initiate, it will come eventually with time. Uh, yeah, so that's another concept we need to implement. We need to view, yeah, in our life. Let's see. So okay, so does that make sense? Yes.
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. How can I give it to myself, and how can I give it to the environment, and thereby
Yes.
ensuring it comes back to me? Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so the other thing about you said the other one was understood. You were not understood. You were not understood. So how can we get understood?
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, I think asking questions, trying to deeply understand why are things happening, what is the real motivation behind it, discovering the values actually that is driving the
Yes.
thinking and behavior, um, and try to go there from an appreciative inquiry perspective, accepting and having empathy towards, well, this is uh, what it is, and how can we together work from here to find a
Mhm.
solution that fits everybody. Um, so I think that's how I could have understood more of my environment.
Mhm. Yeah, very good. And the same as to understand other people, we give them chance to listen to, and then we use communication skills where we ask the people, okay, I understood that. Is that right? Did I get your point right? And then we say what have been told to us and try to understand and active listening and other things. And we can see this with every value we can do this. If it's that expression that we express ourselves, well, how can I express myself? Do I paint? Do I draw? I can have and sketch. I can have a small sketch in the in the work. In the work place, and I can do something. And instead of me just writing normally, I can use an artistic way of writing, and I can learn a new artistic way and express myself that way. There is a lot of ways we can do what we don't like, but we just have to figure out the how. Um, so if it's a job, if it's anything, we just see what is it in that space which we can utilize to get ourselves, into a better state. And I'll just give an example from my case. When I was studying medicine, I always wanted to study psychology. And for me, I want to be a psychologist, but I pursued the way of medicine. So I said, okay, I will pursue the way of psychiatry. So basically, for me, how to make the first 4 years, I didn't understand those concepts of values. I was getting to understand it since fourth year, basically. And then at that time I was like, how can I get this to be fun? And then I would create stories, and I don't know what, which enabled me to study much better. So for example, when we talk about potential, like nerve impulses and stuff like that, and there's potassium and sodium and all that coming in and coming out, then I would imagine sodium, that's salt. Then for example, that resembles snow. So basically a castle built of snow, and then potassium is like bananas. And like what do you call it, like gorillas or stuff is using bananas as machine guns and like through the snow, and then this is going out and this is coming in, and I would just make stories out of the blood chemistry and physiology of how the body works and all that kind of stuff. So basically I just use my way of creativity to like what I don't really like. I would put music, nice music. We can do simple things to like what we don't like by using our values. What is our values? If it's honesty, if it's truth, whatever it is, how can I use this value in my daily action? And that's what I help people to notice. As we were doing here this interactive
Mm.
session, I go deeper and deeper. If they don't know, for example, their main values, then we go deeper and deeper into understanding their values and how we can implement each thing in their daily life, and how we can live from the morning until the evening, how you can implement each value in your life. I would suggest for everyone to have one value to live, one of those values we have talked about, which you feel important, and take that from in the morning and until you go in the evening, and implement that whatever you do. So for example, if how long time do we have, Ian?
I think we are rounding up right now, and we have to round up. But I think
Yes.
you gave
Perfect.
actually a quite nice summary already. It's like take one value that you really want to live by, and then
Yeah.
try to find this in every situation, and thereby
Every
you
situation.
create really this integrity um,
Yes.
to
So
live
for
with what
example,
you say.
yeah, yeah, indeed. So for example, whenever we get up in the morning, if we have a certain routine we do, if it's meditation, which I recommend a lot, it's the first thing we do in the morning. prayer, meditation, that we meditate on uh, that value in our mind. So if it's peacefulness, connectedness, whatever it is, and if, for example, it's connectedness, we want to connect everything, and we live that through our day, and we have that, and then when we go shower, we feel the connection with the water, and we say to ourselves connectedness. We use it as an affirmation, since we start in the morning, and then when we go make food, we feel the connection between different flavors, different tastes, different fruits, whatever it is we're doing. We feel that connection between everything, and we look at this amazing plate we have in front of us and realize that because of someone in the Himalayas brought this salt, someone in Brazil made this coffee, whatever this dish came to be, and feel that connection in our life, basically. If we do that with everything in our life, whatever we do, since we go from the start, we in the morning, we will live this and we will be joyful. We cannot not live our values and not be joyful. So it's just a matter of choice of ours, to relive that joy. But it's up to everyone, if you really want to, basically. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I want to
thank
give
you, Mahmoud.
today.
I
Uh,
think that's a nice also ending for this session. And I found these exercises that you did with me in this unexpected live session very helpful, and it helps to understand yourself more, and to not be caught in unconscious habits, but really to be decisive about and intentional about what habits do I want to engage in. So if people want to dive deeper into this work, want to know more about these exercises, and I'm sure you have a lot more exercises to do, where can people find you? How can people get in contact with you?
So the NGO we have started is called Well-Being Lab. So well/being and lab capital letters, which means life above borders, and also it means lab, that we are all in a lab to get better, and in the way of abundance and guidance. So Well-Being Lab, our Facebook page, and we also have an email. You can go into the Facebook page and you'll see the website and you see the contact information. And yeah, and also my personal Facebook is Mahmoud Tiema. Yeah, I think you'll write down on the YouTube my name, so you can just search that on Facebook.
Yeah, so we
Yeah,
also have all the contact details on
good.
our website, Best for the World. Just search for values, discover your guides, and there you find the recording of the session and all the contact details. So thank you very much, Mahmoud Tiama
Okay.
from the
Thank
Wellbeing
you, and
Lab.
welcome. Yeah, and
Take
peace
care.
for everyone. Yeah, bye.